Okay, to those who are joining us later, welcome to this Guru Mantra meditation practice. Hi Belle, I'm just going to make sure that my internet is okay. Okay, that should be better, I hope. Hi Belle, hi Leela. I'm hot in here. I'll turn the heater off. I really don't think I need a heater on. I think it looks pretty nice outside. I can't help myself in the mornings if it's a bit chilly. I'm getting up to do my practice early. Hi, Eugenia. Ro, hello, welcome. Hi, Prit. Hey, Bree, Kate. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Guru Mantra meditation. Ciao, Simone, Sari, Kerry. Hi. I'm back. I'm back at home and I'm just focusing on the positives of not being out in the wilderness and enjoying nature. I think I might go for a run, head to the beach because I am lucky enough to live near the beach. And yes, I was thinking about, I've been listening to The Sound of Music as a soundtrack because I got it in my head when I was at Tussie Mussy because I was out in the fields and I literally started to sing the theme song, which I now have totally forgotten. The Hills Are Alive. I was literally with my arms up singing The Hills Are Alive, and now I have all of the songs in my head. So I have been listening to a lot of The Sound of Music, keeping the energy of both the Austrian Alps and Tussie Mussy in my body. To those of you who are new, welcome. Apologies if it already has gotten way too strange. And I've been talking about The Sound of Music at the start of what is meant to be a meditation session. Vesak, yes, in memory of the Buddha. I believe Vesak or Wesak was yesterday, 7th. Yeah, Dharma, don't worry, I get it. And Vesak, welcome to those on Facebook. I'm back on Facebook now that I'm here in Melbourne again with the connection. You love The Sound of Music, Ro. Honestly. I feel like I want to watch it again. I have not watched it since I was little. And on a very strange side note, my dad, what's the name of the woman who is the main woman? Who's the main woman? I forget. Oh, thank you for the full moon practice last night. It was so special and emotional. You're welcome, Simone. The full moon does bring up a lot of emotions. Good morning, Kirsty. Julie Andrews, Kate, good one. Thanks, Judy. For some reason, my dad, when he was alive back in the 60s, early 70s, was cleaning Julie Andrews' house. And there's this family story that goes that he found a whole lot. Hi, Lara. Why would Dad have been doing a cleaning job anyway? I don't think I saw Dad do much cleaning. He'd do the odd vacuum. Apparently he was a cleaner, cleaning Julie Andrews' house. Don't know how he got that gig and found a whole heap of naughty stuff underneath the bed. So there you go. You'll never be able to watch that wholesome film ever again with the same mind. But I digress. We'll move back into the full moon, the emotions of the moon. So if you did the full moon practice, he was carpet cleaning, was he? Okay, thanks, sis. Such a weird job for our dad to do. Oh, you gotta laugh, right? That's what this whole practice is also about. Can't take anything too seriously. That's the best story. Oh, very strange story for a Friday morning. This full moon that we just experienced was yesterday, also marks Vesak, which is... Stop. Vesak is the anniversary of the Buddha's birth and death, and I think the day also of his enlightenment as well. So, Mum, you just missed a story about Dad. It's probably a good thing. The Julie Andrews story. And this day of Vesak is a nice day for us to reflect on the Buddha, and I've talked about, and I'm not a Buddhist, it's just that my mum and I, and also Ro, who has joined us today, we like in my 20s, we went to the Buddhist Gompa a lot on Monday nights. Thank you for the full moon practice. Oh, I can't say it, it's gone. I felt so light inside and had the best sleep. That's great, Kerry. I had a really good sleep as well. Good to do practices that support you in really high-powered, energetic moments, because you can end up awake all night. So, hi Claire. With the Buddhist teachings, I bring them up a lot because I've had a lot of exposure to them. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning, Leela. Oh, I'm so glad that you slept well. Yes, SJ, that's why you slept well. We worked with the energy of the full moon. We worked with it rather than fighting against it. That's what the full moon practices are about. You had the best sleep too. Great. Moon sleep, yes. And there's three aspects to the kind of overall focus. I mean, Buddhism is such a huge philosophy, but there's the Buddha, which we aspire to, the Dharma, which is the teaching, the Satsang that we together take part in every morning. And then there's the Sangha, which is this community. And even though it's online, this is what we're creating. And I see you guys connecting with one another, and we are creating Sangha here. And this is really important. And make friends with the people and send them messages outside of this, and be surrounded and supported by the other people who are practicing with you. So these three aspects, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, are important ones to remember. And last night at the full moon deep breath practice, I brought up the idea of impatience, if you're feeling impatient, because the practice was it was deep and intense, but there was a flow to it. It wasn't harsh in any way. It wasn't like we were really going hard. There was a sense that I wanted everybody to feel into a softness and a flow. Or did you do it, Jess? That's awesome. And with that, if we're in a high-powered kind of mode, or if we're wanting things to happen quickly, impatience can arise. And impatience can arise within our own practice, in the yoga practice. Impatience can arise on the spiritual path with the meditation practice. And I brought up the idea that impatience is a form of anger. And this is something that I learnt at Tara, the Buddhist Gompa, and it really has stuck with me for my whole life, because I know that when I am under duress, that I am somebody who tends to drop into anger and its more subtle forms. And with that, I think that, there was a time in my life where I almost took pride in the fact that I'm not patient. I'm just the kind of person that moves quickly, and I'm an impatient person. And then when I heard that teaching, that impatience is a form of anger, it made me really rethink this aspect of my ego self that I had been attaching to. And when you look at the kind of scale of anger, at the most intense end there is rage. And rage is that anger which is like a wildfire out of control. The rage emotion is one which has no boundaries, borders, or filters. So if you've ever personally experienced rage or seen it in somebody else, then there is a sense that things will come out that perhaps you don't even really mean, that you will regret later. And there is a sense that it's almost like rage moves through you. It's not even part of you. And there is a complete irrationality to rage. Then there is anger, which I don't think I need to explain too much because we all really know when we get angry, that experience. And learning how to process anger is a whole nother teaching. We do it a lot through Kriya. In the mentorship, we do a lot of practices to process anger through the body to allow it to move out as opposed to pushing it onto other people or holding it back and not expressing it at all. So there are different methods and cathartic methods for releasing anger. And then there are more subtle aspects of anger. So frustration and annoyance. When you just get a bit frustrated with somebody, get a little bit niggly and annoyed with them, often happens with a partner that you're spending too much time with and there isn't enough polarity. If you're sleeping with that person every night, that's another teaching, but from the tantric perspective, there isn't the polarity that you need. And then in its even more subtle form, there is impatience. And that, if you really think about it, when you're impatient, this happened to me yesterday, so I'm going to use my story. Yeah, impatience is a form of anger. Because we've been having all of these technical things, and I've had my computer for 5 years, I thought, okay, before the live stream, I'm going to buy a new computer, and I went to the Apple store. And everyone is standing around wearing masks, and there's a queue, and I was like, what's going on? And one guy says, oh, this is for reservations. Have you made a reservation? I was like, the impatience started to arise at that moment. No, I haven't. Now, the tone is everything. And my tone with him, I am on a subtle level, my own impatience, I am projecting on him. There is a level of anger that I am projecting onto this poor Apple employee. He says, no, he wasn't even an Apple employee. I think he was a security guard or something, wearing a stupid mask. And he's like, go and talk to that guy over there from Apple. It's like, okay, I shouldn't say stupid mask. This is my impatience arising again. And I go and talk to the Apple guy, and he said, okay, it's going to be about an hour wait in the line. And I said to him, can I book a reservation? He said, no, not for purchases. So I feel it's starting to arise. He said, we will take your temperature and then you'll have to wear a mask. And I said, you do know that the masks only work if you're sick. I mean, why am I trying to do this? This is my impatience arising. This is a form of anger arising in me. The Apple dude has no control over the Apple systems. Steve Jobs' protege has told everyone to do it. Why am I trying to create something with this other person who has very little control over the situation at all? And when you step back from this situation, I left. It is really my impatience. I want it now. I need the computer now. I've got to do stuff, I've got a live stream because I've got to teach people yoga tonight. Like, what? Here I am. I have to teach people yoga, and in the meanwhile, I'm being impatient and angry at the guy who's not letting me teach yoga. What is going on in that whole scenario? My goodness. And even if your impatience isn't at somebody else. It could be, you know, the woman behind the counter who's just being a bit slow as she gets your bread or your coffee. You know, this impatient attitude that we project onto other people, it might be for yourself. And it is still a form of anger when you're impatient. I haven't got there yet. You know, like think about that tone. Like, oh, I should have finished all of the things today. Or, God, I skipped my meditation. This was one that I wanted to touch on again with, I had a beautiful message from somebody called Casey. Yes, you resonate with this so much, Haley. Even if it is for yourself, that impatience is a form of anger. And it is such a profound teaching. I'm very grateful that, you know, I had this time at the Bodhisattva. It doesn't mean that it stops my impatience from arising. I am a lot more aware of it now. I probably wasn't yesterday with that poor Apple guy. You know, I just want to send out, I'm sorry. Sorry. And it's important to have that process, of course, afterwards. Tone is everything. It is. The Apple process does sound silly, but that's what they're doing to stay safe. And I need to check on, basically, the teaching is about checking on your emotions and taking responsibility for your own emotions. They aren't the fault of other people. Your emotions are your emotion. They arise from within you. And somebody else could have had a very different reaction or response to that situation. Somebody who doesn't want to go home and has got a like teeny tiny baby and a husband who's annoying them and is like so excited to be in Southland on her own, for example, would relish the opportunity to stand in the queue at Apple and put a mask on and chat with another adult. So the situation isn't the cause. Because if the situation was the cause, then inherently that would mean every single person on the planet would have the exact same response. But they don't. We all have different responses because our emotions are our responsibility. And when we can start to take full responsibility for our emotions, even if it's after the fact. So, you know, allowing ourselves to feel that regret is important on the process. Having awareness in the beginning, and then the hard work comes changing it. Exactly. There's nothing good about Southland. I know, right? So once you have that awareness, then the practice comes into real life. I didn't buy the new computer. Yeah, the quality of the new MacBook Air is very bad. Thank you. This is turning into a tech forum as well. You're welcome to send in your ideas for me and my tech situation. But when we experience that regret, when there is an internal apology, then we have to work at changing. And this is where the meditation practice comes into it. When we learn how to... Southland is your church. When we learn to create space in our mind through meditation, then when situations arise, we're not so close with our reaction. And we can create space before we react. And we can remember, this is my emotion. This is my response. So the meditation practice is a beautiful practice on its own, of course, and the experiences that we have during practice are very powerful, of course. However, the real power comes through the consistency of practice that allows us to start to automate spaciousness in our daily lives. So it stops being such hard work. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years. Click and collect instead. I know this is what I want to do, but I needed it now, Anna. I needed it now. But this is why the yogis say Practice all the time. So practice every single day. Because you don't know when a situation is going to arise that will challenge you so that you have to respond in a kind, compassionate, calm, peaceful way. For example, the moment of death. They say if you want to move from this realm to the next in a way that is peaceful, in a way that allows you to retain a lot of your good karma, in a way that is fully conscious, so where you don't pass over and forget what's happened and have no idea what's going on and why you've left your body and where you are. They say, there are certain techniques, there's certain kriyas that you need to do at that moment of death. You need to chant the mantra Om, for example, is one of them. But you can't simply say to yourself, I'm not going to practice for my whole life. And then at the very end, I'm just going to make sure I chant that one Om at that important moment. Because if you haven't practiced your whole life, when that moment arises, and who knows when it is, you won't be well practiced enough to be able to be conscious, aware, spacious, to be doing the mantra, to be doing the kriya, to be sitting in a state of peace. Thanks, Catherine. I love you too. And, even if it's not part of the way you're envisioning the reason that you do practice is for that moment of death, then even in your everyday life, what happens when something really stressful arises? COVID-19, you lose your job, you have to move out of your house or, your workspace or whatever it is. If you're not used to doing the practices, you might respond in a way which causes you even more suffering, even more pain. So the more we do the practice, when we're hit with things that are unexpected, because no matter how many affirmations you do, no matter how high you vibrate, life is going to throw things at you that are out of your control. People are going to die, you're going to lose things, everything that you're attached to will fade away. It's going to happen. But what we have power and control in through the practice is how we respond. And that's why we also do it every day, not just to be in a meditative state, not just to always be the yogi on the mountain, but to be in life, to be experiencing this human existence and all of it, but experiencing it with less suffering, with more peace, with more calm, with greater resilience, with the ability to be able to handle anything that comes our way. We practice so we know what to do when we are not practicing. That's right, that's perfect, Sarah. So, thank you for listening to this morning's satsang that has really moved from Julie Andrews all the way to the Buddha somehow. Let's now do the practice, do what we're here for. Take a moment to stretch. Make your way into a position where the spine can be long. Take a deep breath in the nose, out of the mouth. And again in the nose, out of the mouth. One more deep breath in. Draw all of the prana into the body. Retain the breath for a moment. Allow yourself to be filled, whole, complete for this moment of breath. And then just like that, open the mouth, exhale, let it all go, release. And bring the hands to prayer. Rub them quickly. Press the palms together. Take a deep breath in. Cleansing breath out. One round of Om. And take the palms out in front. Soften the shoulders and consciously release. Release from all that is everyday and limiting you. Any impatience, any anger that holds you back, any suffering, heartache, any delusion that stops you from connecting to aligning now with all that is divine, all that is whole and complete, all that is universal and eternal. And from this elevated, positive state, we consecrate, offering up all of the karmic fruits of our practice, this meditation, to a greater power, and waiting for a response. You'll feel it from above. And then rest the hands. We rest them on the lap. Left palm rests on top of right. Thumbs touch. And we begin to work with the mantra Aham, Prema. I am love. So please repeat with me. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. A little softer. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. Until it becomes a whisper. Aham, Prema. Aham, Prema. And allow the mantra to become a whisper, so faint it fades into silence. The internal repetition. I am love. If that mantra resonates more with you, you can say it in English. Otherwise, we use this Sanskrit vibration. Aham Prema, sacred protective tool of the mind, connecting us with the great vibration of unconditional love in the universe, awakening it within ourselves. Keep focusing on the mantra. If your mind becomes distracted, it's okay. Bring it back to Aham, Prema. And really go deep into this mantra for the final few breaths. Let yourself be absorbed into the mantra completely. And now allow the mantra to fade. Notice what arises, perhaps the spaciousness for even one breath. And you bring your hands to prayer. And you seal this practice with one long round of in one breath, and then in one other breath, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Cleansing breath to begin. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we bow our heads to the spaciousness, to the journey and all that we're learning, the process of being human and being on this path. To that experience, we feel in ourselves, we acknowledge in all those 100 people who joined us this morning. And to that, we honor by saying Namaste. Namaste to you all. Thank you for the 90 people or so who, 100 people, sorry, on Facebook and Instagram who carried on. I did go a few minutes over 9 o'clock, and I know many of you have children who have to go to school, so thank you for staying. The teaching was big. Thank you all for your great comments and for creating such a beautiful Sangha. Thank you, it's my pleasure. I'm lucky to have had a mother who took me to Tara and an incredible friend like Ro, I don't know whether she's still there, who joined me and supported me in that. Thanks Jess and Georgie. Thank you to everybody on Facebook as well for joining. Jamie and I are running a philosophy training starting May 18th if you're wanting to know more about the history and philosophy of yoga, that is happening online. Thanks for the share and for being real, Cyan. Have a lovely day. Let's all find a little more patience today. Thanks, Catherine. Will do. Thanks, Kirsty. Thanks, Naziak and Suchana. Favourite morning. Have the best day. For those who want to do any of the full moon practices, the energy of the moon is still very strong in the days following. So, in fact, I'm going to keep that deep breathe up for those who are members, and that will just stay up forever. So it will be all of the full moon practices you can continue to do today and tomorrow. They'll still resonate with that energy of the Scorpio moon. So you're welcome to do those. Thanks, Claire, and thanks, Alicia and Haley. It resonated so much. Definitely need to learn more about moving the anger through. And we'll do more practices on moving anger through the body and finding powerful catharsis through the collective membership. So you're loving all the membership practices. That's so good. Thanks, Mishko. Thank you. I'm so glad because there's been so much work. The shaking practices are really good. We've got them online. We've got 3 up and online. And I have recorded one which isn't specific to anger, but I will do one specific to anger. Thanks, SJ. You have to aparigraha your altar today. Get rid of all the excess, non-attachment. Very good. Keep the altar for a couple of days if you can. A lot of people created altars for the full moon last night, little shrines, our full moon shrines. Do a shakeout now if you want to. There are 3 beautiful practices online that include pranayama and shaking that we've already processed, and they're by other teachers as well. So they're really powerful. Shaking is a great way. Maybe on another day I'll discuss a little about trauma as well, because that was a question that came through. Anyway, there's a lot of content on the membership. If there's extras that you're wanting, if you need more practices, there are many very powerful practices on there that you can tap into, and we are continuing to add more. I will see you all tomorrow. Oh no, I won't. I'll see you all on Monday. Tomorrow, Sonia from our mentorship has offered to do a meditation. Yes, you love meeting all the TLC teachers. That's great. She's doing our year-long mentorship, and she studied with me doing the yoga teacher training. She's a very powerful teacher, so I hope you enjoy sitting with her tomorrow, and I will see you all on Monday, I believe. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all again for joining. Goodbye on Facebook.